Hey everyone, this is Caroline. Welcome. Today we are starting a series on relationships. Hey everyone. Oops, sorry. um, yeah, we are starting a series on relationships and welcome. So I hope everybody's doing okay. This is a weird time as we've been talking, since last year. As you all know, I've been talking about, looking at the positive of what is happening. And the positive is this situation is making us rethink about everything, what is important to us. So in a way, this is very, very positive and very healing. That's how I look at it. And so before I begin, quick reminder: Superhuman film is the film is on Amazon Prime. If you have not watched it, please go and watch it. But also, if you have watched it, please make sure you write a review because we are actually attracting a lot of mainstream folks, which is very, very exciting. So we need to keep those reviews up. So if you haven't done so, I appreciate it if you can show your support and make sure you write a review for Superhuman Film. Also, the work that is demonstrated in Superhuman is telekinesis, seeing with blindfolds on, remote viewing, all these mind over matter, shifting the pH in water and things like that. And so I have classes on the website as well that I really, really highly recommend that you do. It's not about telekinesis, moving an object. I mean, who cares? That's not the point. The point is the training. So what happens is when you do this training, your first of all, your confidence increases, because if you can do this on a piece of paper or bend a spoon or what have you, this means that you can do it on your body, you can do it on yourself. And so the training is so empowering. So I highly recommend that you guys look into this, and also recommend it to others, which brings me to the topic of today. Again, we are here to reformat, to reset what it is that we want in this reality. And so how are we going to do that if the mind is all over the place, if the mind is very frazzled? And so I thought I would begin by doing this mini series on relationships, because the way you relate to yourself and to others in the world is going to determine what you're going to create. So that's the reason why this is a very important topic. So what we're going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit, and then you can write your comments. I would love to see your comments pop up here and there, but let's leave the questions until the end. Because maybe I will address those questions before, then I would need to scroll back and forth. Okay. So let's do that. So the series is about relationships. And of course, the first one is relationship with yourself. I decided to, of course, start with that, because if you have a positive and strong relationship with yourself, then you can have that relationship with others, but not only others as in people or romantic relationship, it's relationship with the world, And so that's the reason why it starts with you, since you are the one creating. That is the reason why you want to make sure you know what the relationship with yourself is about, how it's structured, and to make sure it is absolutely coherent with what you're here to do, what you're here to create. Otherwise, it just won't happen. So if you are not in alignment with your higher good, then whatever relationship you will have with work or with others is not going to be aligned with their higher good, you see? And then then they will not be able to give you back the results that you're looking for. So that is the reason why it all starts with you. So let's begin by understanding and shifting your perspective on the fact that everything is programming. Everything is programmed. So you didn't come in thinking you're insecure. You didn't come in as a baby thinking you're a failure. You didn't come in thinking you're not good enough and you can't achieve success and so on and so forth. All of this became a program in your consciousness, in your belief system, um, that eventually started to affect how you created your reality. So the good news about this, that if this was programmed obviously unconsciously by you, then you can deprogram it, you can change it. It's when you observe the physical world as you're growing up, you see your parents fighting or teachers or people telling you this or that, you start to feel things through your emotions, and then you create those belief systems. And these are the belief systems that become programmed. And so then if you have been hurt as a child and you develop a belief system, and let's say your dad left when you were young, let's say, and so the feelings came up as you feel abandoned, you feel unloved, even though that's not necessarily the case and it had nothing to do with you, but that is nonetheless the belief system you developed. And so moving forward, you're going to carry this new programming that you are abandoned, that you're not loved, that you're not good enough to be loved, and apply it to all areas of your life, including work, including everything, including, so it's not just love as in romantic relationships. And so that's the reason why we need to kind of start over. That's the good news also about this year, 2021. It has a very empowering, powerful quality. So, and very quickly, I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but this year you may start to realize that whatever you think happens very quickly. Time is actually quite speeded up. I don't know if you are noticing these things, and so I don't know why this is not letting me see your comments, but whatever, because I want to see your questions as well. Can somebody type something in the chat, because so that I know I can look at the questions later. Okay. So all this to say, yeah, 2021 is a very powerful year, in the sense that it will affect your thoughts very powerfully. And so you better be careful what you think about and what you wish for. At the same time, this is a great opportunity if things are going to manifest very quickly. So let's decide what it is that you want to manifest. So today, relationship with the self, where everything begins, you have to realize the goal is for you to get to this unconditional love for yourself. And it's not just about like, oh, I feel good about myself, I'm self-confident. Of course, there's that. But that is a vibration. It raises your vibration. When you raise your vibration, then of course you attract positive things in your life. But also, it's all about the vibration, creating a coherence. You become coherent vibrationally, geometrically, structurally with the universe. Let me just get rid of this. So you become coherent with the universe, the structure of the universe. And what does that mean? For those who have been studying with me, I'm talking about the planetary grid. The planetary grid is, let's, in simple terms, is the time-space continuum, the structure of space itself that is coherent with your physical brain. And so when you reprogram your brain, you make it coherent with a larger structure, Yeah, I'm being told that commenting is blocked on YouTube for some reason. So I don't know what's going on here. But just let me see. Live chat to go. Yeah, I think there's some privacy issues or whatever. They keep changing these things. So I don't know what to say. Let's just leave the questions for later anyway. And the comments, I wonder. Um, hmm. Some messages are potential spam, may not be visible. I don't know why they keep complicating all of this. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. Live stream, staying safe. Oh my God, it's like, uh, they're just changing as we take steps to prioritize well-being. I don't know. It's all COVID. I don't know what it has to do with COVID and you not being able to write your comments. You know what? Let's just let it go. Let's focus on this. Go ahead and grab a piece of paper, please, and pen and paper or your journal, whatever it is, to just write down and take notes, because I'm going to share specific tools. A lot of it is it may be a reminder of things you've done or you are doing, but it's a great reminder, and it's good to come together to make this happen today. So grab a piece of paper and a pen, and and let's keep going. And then your questions could be in the comment after the fact, and I guess I will answer them in the comments under the video when it shows up. Okay, so I was saying that when you reprogram your brain, you are now coherent with a larger structure of the fabric of space itself. You know, again, for those who are interested, you have to go back to the class Mastering the Human Mind, or my books, where I describe what the planetary grid is, what it does, why it is there, and the connection relationship with your physical brain. And so every time you think, it kind of relates to a point in time space. You can look at it that way. And so when you are thinking in a certain way, it kind of points in a specific direction, and it starts to attract whatever's up there. And so if you are coherent in your physical brain, then the larger you are coherent with a larger structure, then everything you think about, grabs exactly what you want very fast. That's the point. And so if you are clear on what it is that you want, and you are truly, truly, truly in the unconditional love state, then that is what you're going to attract very, very quickly, especially in 2021. So this is the simplified version of this understanding. But just visualize that that is what is happening for now. And so the idea of becoming coherent is not only aligned with what's going to happen to you in your experience, but of course, in relation to other things you are creating. And so here we are in this human form, and the way we actually experience life is through our senses, through our emotions, through our thoughts, and through our beliefs. And so the idea is to understand that our emotions, our thoughts, and beliefs are a part of our guidance system. And so when we are feeling angry or frustrated, it's okay. In other words, a lot of people go, oh, I'm angry about this thing. What should I do about it? That is the typical programming, that you have an emotion and you right away want to fix it, or you want to know why you're still stuck there. I think this is actually the positive point. So you're having this emotion. In order for you, it's like a red flag. It's like a, like the alarm. Okay, so it's the alarm. It's telling you, oh, you have an emotion that doesn't feel good like unconditional love does. And so, all right, so here we have a test. Can anyone watch this video, see the slides the live chat and reply to it. Okay, so now it's working. I have no idea what happened, but anyway, so the live chat is working. Maybe somehow my brain made that happen. So, okay, now all the comments are working. That's funny. Okay, so go ahead and write your comments. Like I said, I'll look at them every now and then we'll look at your questions at the end. Okay. So I was saying that the emotions are something very important to look at. And so the typical human programming is I'm angry or I'm depressed. And I kind of stay in this vibration and I kind of keep, swimming in it, soaking in it, which makes it worse and worse and worse. And so that is the typical programming where you're not really utilizing your emotions the way you're supposed to. Or sometimes the reaction is you beat yourself up. You kind of say, "Oh my God, I'm depressed again. I'm such a loser. I'm pathetic. Here I am again. I can't get out of my own way," and so on and so forth. And so just know that this is a very, very common. It's not common. It's literally the human programming on the earth. I work with hundreds of people all the time. That is a typical thing where why people are stuck. People are stuck because when you have an emotion, you don't know what to do with it. And you start adding to other emotions. Okay, I'm depressed. Therefore, I'm still where I am. I haven't resolved my issue, and so on and so forth. And that becomes worse and worse and worse. And so the idea is to begin to understand and realize that your emotions are telling you to do something about the situation. Then you're going to say, well, I don't know what to do. Well, I'm going to guide you through it. So I have a little routine for you. You can write this down. You've heard me talk about this a lot, but in the context of reestablishing a healthy relationship with yourself, we're starting from scratch to recreate who we are on the planet moving forward as of 2021. You are deciding who you want to be, what type of being you want to be, what type of personality, how you want to manage your emotions, your thoughts, and your beliefs. So in this context, begin to write down on your piece of paper. When you get up in the morning, the first thing you do, if you find yourself grabbing your cell phone, to check who texts you or the emails or whatever it is that you do, notice that you are already focusing on someone else. You are focusing on outside yourself. The morning is extremely important because you are going to set your day for the rest of your day, the tone of the day. So before you even get up, this is what I do. So this is what I'm sharing with you. The first thing is I begin to notice how I feel. And so realize that sometimes you could be totally fine. And suddenly you wake up and you have these weird feeling out of nowhere. Maybe it's a dream that you don't remember, or maybe something else, something unconscious. I guarantee that you're going to have some sort of feeling. And so begin to feel it in your heart. How does your body feel? And sometimes it's just exhaustion or, just being overly tired in a weird way. So it doesn't have to be, always anxiety, although anxiety is a big one. And so before you even do anything, you open your eyes and you start to you feel what your body's telling you. Okay, I suddenly feel tired, very, very tired, like unusually tired. I feel very depressed. Okay, for example, what is that about? So begin to feel what that is about. And then in the heart, I taught you many times that you imagine that your heart is a separate person, as if you're talking to a different person. So when you talk to your heart and say, what are you depressed about? You will feel something. Sometimes people see something. So begin. Of course, I have many techniques, but now we're just doing it kind of in a quick and easy way. This does not have to take very long. That's another thing. This routine is actually quite simple. So you're lying in your bed, you feel depressed. You ask your heart, what is this depression about? Sometimes you will feel that it's not even yours. You go to the collective, you feel like it's the planet that is in that state and you're just kind of reacting. So that could be an answer. Or perhaps it is something that you're struggling with. You've been struggling with resolving an issue, resolving a situation, and you're still where you are. So it's making you kind of like, okay, I'm still at the same point. So that is, clarity. If you're not 100% sure what you're depressed about, it's okay too, as long as you identify the emotion, which is depression. And so when you begin to feel that, obviously this does not feel good, because if you're feeling amazing, then there's no question, there's no issue. You just get on with your day and everything's fine. But feeling depressed or being anxious does not feel good. So instead of saying, here I am, letting your human programming kick in, here I am, I'm depressed again. Every morning I wake up, I'm depressed, what's wrong with me? Beating myself up that I haven't resolved the situation, so on and so forth. Just release it. Let it go. Focus on your heart, focus on your entire body, and say, I ask, I intend to release this feeling of depression from every cell in my body, my conscious, my subconscious, and my cellular memory. You breathe it in. As you exhale, you imagine that all kinds of stuff is just leaving your body. I guarantee you will feel lighter, and you just keep doing it over and over. It shouldn't take that long if you do it right, especially in the morning, because in the morning, you are still kind of connected to your higher self in a different way than during the day. That's why I recommend to do this before you even get out of bed. Then you may have another feeling come up, maybe anxiety like, oh my God, I don't know what today is going to look like. I haven't been able to resolve this situation or have a new job or whatever. So anxiety. So focus on not the information, the situation, focus on the emotion. So bring it up. I have anxiety. Okay, ask your heart, what is the anxiety about? It's about this person is causing me anxiety. It's about this, my boss or whatever. If you don't know, same thing, doesn't matter. Anxiety doesn't feel good. Just focus on it and say, I ask and intend to release this sense of anxiety from every cell in my body, my conscious, my subconscious cellular memory. Breathe in and exhale. And as you exhale, you are letting go. You visualize all kinds of stuff that is coming out of your body. And eventually, I promise you, you will feel a state of, you feel like kind of neutral. You feel like, okay, I'm kind of done for now. When you get there, this is when you set your intention. You have to set your intention every single morning, not because you already set your intention to resolve this problem, last week that it's happening. Of course it's happening, but every single day you want to give it this extra little momentum. And so you say, okay, today my intention is to resolve this issue and that issue to the best of my ability. And I ask for assistance to just keep moving forward and manifest my intention today. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Imagine that it's already anchoring in your body because you already took stuff out. So now you're putting back in this intention and you're focusing on it. And so now you are ready to get out of bed, you see, because physically, when you start to engage in a physical activity, even taking a shower, fixing your breakfast, whatever it is, your conscious mind is already engaged in the physical world. That's the reason why I am really, really encouraging you to do this before you get out of bed, as soon as you open your eyes. And so that is a big difference, to begin to engage in a physical activity as simple as you're reading the news, or making a cup of coffee. And so energetically, you are more open, you're more prepared, you will shift much, much, much faster. And that is the reason why I recommend that you do it this way. So that is your morning. And then throughout your day. So today, let's say my intention is to focus on finalizing this contract, or getting through the day, through all my meetings kind of effortlessly. Like, so I want everything to be smooth and kind of easy and no stress. That's a simple, intention. So I did that. I said that this morning, but throughout the day, every couple of hours, I'm still going to check myself. I'm telling you, sometimes I'm totally fine. I'm doing my thing. I am, let's say, preparing, I'm doing a spreadsheet on something or anything, or I'm talking to someone online nowadays. And so as I am doing this, all of a sudden, I feel a huge sense of sadness. So I'm not even focused on that, but yet I've trained myself to notice these things, to feel these things. For it's like I'm setting the alarm every time I have an emotion that comes up that is not aligned with feeling in the state of coherence. Then I want to know about it. I wanted to, ring the bell, ring the alarm, so that I pay attention to it, so I know. Wait. Pause whatever it is that I'm doing, notice what that's about. Just like what I did in the morning, I get up from the computer, I sit, and I start to feel, okay, what is this sadness about? I wasn't even thinking about anything sad. How could this feeling just come up in me? Is it maybe, am I just feeling just exhausted from being in front of the computer, and that translates into sadness? Or is it something else? Very important. I stop what I'm doing. Stop what you're doing. I'm telling you, because you have to understand that the physical brain, when you are engaged in a physical activity, your brain is already on the old programming, you see? So it's on the programming that is making you feel bad and telling you you're a failure, you're not good enough, all this old stuff that is misaligned. So if you continue to engage in this physical activity, whether it's an email or phone, whatever it is, and kind of try to brush off that emotion that doesn't feel good, you're not really, first of all, it's not as effective, and you're not really going to change the programming that well. So you might as well just stop, pause. If you're talking to someone, finish the conversation, and then go to another physical location. If you're in your, I don't know, your bedroom, go to your living room. If you're in your living room, go outside. Of course, outside is the best if you can, and change the physical environment and the physical activity that you're doing, so that you bring back that focus to you, to your heart, and you're totally clear. Even stuff is going on, but the fact that you've taken that physical step is going to already start shifting you. So then I go to the living room and I start to feel it out. Okay, so what's this sadness about? I was totally fine, not even thinking about anything. And all of a sudden, of course, from the heart, I start to feel that there's something in the collective that's just came up. Or I'm thinking about a person that's struggling through something, and that person came into my consciousness, and I'm starting to feel it. So then I'm feeling, does that mean I'm supposed to reach out? Does that mean I'm just sending them like love, like energy, like that, and just move on? I kind of take the time to know what it is that I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. And again, for those who are not so clear or able to discern, it doesn't really matter. That sadness doesn't really feel so good. Although I'd really, really recommend that you train yourself to discern the root cause, the reason why you are feeling this way. Because the more you discern these things, the more it's more effective. And it's also, you're learning about yourself. You're learning why you are reacting this way, about collective stuff or about this person or what have you. And so this, for those who are interested, go do my Healers Program series. But for now, just do these simple steps. It still works very much so. And so whatever it is that you identify, even if you didn't identify it, so just go to your heart and say, I ask and intend to release this tremendous sense of sadness that just came over me from every cell in my body, my conscious, my subconscious, my cellular memory. Breathe in. And as you exhale, again, you imagine stuff coming out, coming out. Stay with it. See if something else comes up underneath this sadness. Is there anything else, or was that it? Sometimes that was it. Sometimes it's just for me to pay attention to the collective is going through something. Of course, I can discern very quickly and very easily what it is that they're struggling with, and of course shift that. But if you don't, doesn't really matter. Sometimes it will take one or two breathing, a release, and that's it. Sometimes a little bit longer. And so do not go back to your work, whatever it is you were doing, until you reach this state of coherence again. Because again, you are now bringing with you this feeling of sadness in whatever it is that you're doing. If you're talking to someone, trust me, that energy is being transferred to them. If you're trying to resolve something, you're trying to resolve it with this feeling of sadness behind it. And guess what you're going to get in return? You're going to get a resolution that is kind of still makes you a little sad. Do you see what I mean? That is the reason why it is so important. You are the one that creates. You are the one that creates. So because of that, the state that you're in is going to determine what you're going to create and how you're going to create it. So that's going back to throughout the day, every time you feel something's off, especially if you're talking to someone. If you're talking to someone on the phone and you're just kind of having a conversation, and all of a sudden you have this like rage or this anger or this like, I can't take it anymore. This is very, very important because it means they're triggering something. So what I'm saying, and don't think that, I'm going to hang up and I don't care about them and I'll just move on. No, again, emotions are your guidance. It's guiding you to tell you this person triggered something very important. Otherwise, you would be like, okay, whatever, maybe it doesn't feel so good, but then you're totally fine. But if it's really making you feel so bad, then it means that your emotion is telling you there's something that you must pay attention to in you. The person could be mean or whatever. That's not the point. The point is you are the one that's still attracted that meanness in them. Even if they're mean to everyone, they can still, I know people who are very mean to other people, but when they talk to me, they're very, very kind. You see, so the fact that a person is mean doesn't mean that that they should be mean to you. It's because there's a part of you that is allowing that. You see, it's always that you are the attractor. And so again, throughout the day, make sure, write that as a line item. In the morning, you have your routine. Throughout the days, number 2. And at night, before you go to sleep, so you're lying in bed, same thing. The last thing you do before you close your eyes, same thing. Do the energetic cleanse that I've talked about many times. Basically, you imagine that you picked up all kinds of stuff that wasn't aligned with you, that is kind of doesn't you don't know what it is. Maybe when this person talked to you, you felt angry, but you picked up something else. If you went somewhere, I'm sure you picked up a few attachments or interference or all kinds of things. So whether you feel it or you know it or not, just do it. It takes 5 minutes. We're not talking about you interrupting your day and sitting for an hour meditating. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about taking a few minutes, just a few minutes. Don't you take a few minutes to have lunch? Don't you take a few minutes to go wash your hands? Don't you take a few minutes? It's the same thing. As you're doing these things, you're just paying attention. That's all. You're becoming conscious of what your body's feeling. That's all you're doing. So you're not like stopping and going to meditate for an hour to get there. No, 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 no. And so it becomes a routine. It becomes something that happens spontaneously. Even as I'm speaking right now, I'm also noticing how I'm feeling, and I'm shifting how I'm feeling. Of course, I can multitask as well. But eventually, that's how it works. That's how it happens. In fact, just a side note here for those who know me, when I'm teaching a class, when I have big group in front of me, and as I am teaching, I am also sensing what the group is going through. If there's something else I should address, or if there's any sort of weird energy that's popping up that's interfering, something like that. And as I am sensing these things, I'm also intending for those things to shift. And so while I'm still talking, you see, so that's eventually how you will become. You will be able to continue whatever task is at hand, whatever you are actually doing. And at the same time, being able to sense, quickly discern, shift, as at the same time. And so, but in the, you get there by doing a little bit of this work that I'm telling you, that is simple, but then it is great training to actually do it throughout the day. Going back to the evening, do not close your eyes until you have set your intention. You have cleared out whatever it is that is misaligned. You don't have to know, do the connecting to source, just like you did it in the morning. Flush out anything that is misaligned. And then once, same with the feeling, let's say, I feel I haven't really, performed well today, or I haven't, whatever it is, pay attention, shift it, shift it, shift it. Then when you are neutral, my intention is to be wrapped and protected with source energy, and to while I'm sleeping, to continue to resolve whatever situation, but to be in perfect alignment and coherence with the intelligence of the universe. I wrap myself with source energy, and off I go. So this kind of routine is extremely important. The energetic, the awareness of where you're at throughout the day. And like I said, eventually it becomes very, very cool because you could do all this at the same time. So this is kind of the focus on you. Then the next thing is, what is the expression of you, the extension of you? The extension of you is your physical body, is your physical appearance, your physicality. Because now we've been talking about emotions and feelings and beliefs and things like that. But in addition to this, that's not all you are. You are in a physical body this time around. And this physical body is you, is an extension of you. So the physical body, its state, the way it's feeling, as for example, in terms of health and condition, in terms of appearance, like I said. And then the next thing, the other extension is your environment, meaning your home, the place where you live, and your car, anything that is the physical part of you that is an extension of you. Believe it or not, your car is an extension of you. The type of furniture that you buy is very much an extension of you. It's an expression of you. And so again, tools. The next thing is on the list, now that you have this energetic, emotional, energetic shift kind of program, you also now want to focus on the physical body. My physical body is my creation. I know a lot of people say, wait a minute, I didn't sign up to be, I don't know if you're a guy like bald or short or tall or fat or but whatever, that's what you think. But for some reason you did. And so, and maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it is exactly what you need in this lifetime for a specific purpose. And so begin by realizing and understanding and shifting your focus that your physical body is of your own making. It is an extension of you. It is you. So sometimes you say also like it's genes and I inherited this from my mother or my father, whatever. Yes, maybe, but it doesn't matter. You can still change it. And the idea is your state of consciousness about your physical body. That's what's so important. It doesn't matter if you're overweight by other people's standards, but then you feel good about it. I mean, you feel good in your body. Who cares? So the idea is to get to a perfect coherence with your physical body so that there is nothing about you, no aspect of you that is incoherent. And so begin by focusing on the physical body in terms, let's begin with nutrition. Okay. So again, some people say, okay, so I'm struggling with this kind of food, or I'm, again, overweight or underweight, whatever that may be. And so think about this. We are in this human form. At this point in the human evolution, the human body has changed since the beginning of human civilization, and it will continue to change. But at this particular juncture, the human configuration still requires food to sustain itself. I mean, that's what it is. These are the laws at this juncture. I'm not saying it will stay like this forever. I'm saying right now, that is the programming. Again, it is all programming. And so we cannot sustain ourselves without food or water or air, obviously. And so what do we do with that? Okay, we can fight it and say, well, if it's programming, I can reprogram myself to not eat and not drink and be fine. Yes, some people do that. But you're kind of going against, it's almost like the evolution of the human the physical configuration is changing, and it's evolving through time space in a linear time in a very organized way, again in coherence with the larger universal order. And so at this point, the collective is at a point where it still requires it, but maybe in smaller doses and gradually, and eventually in about 50 years, I'm suspecting, if it continues the way it's looking right now, the human body will be so different that it will no longer require food at all to survive. And but until then, do you want to try to master it in this way today? You can, or just understand that this is where you're at. And the path of least resistance is to accept the fact that my body needs nutrition and water, but let me figure out what type of nutrition and water do I really require and need to sustain its functioning to an optimum level. And so you have to decide. My personal choice is to just go with the flow, meaning the path of least resistance, even though under some circumstances, I am capable of mastering the physical body to sustain myself if I had to, to go without food or water for a while. But right now, if I understand the evolutionary path of the human configuration, physical configuration, the path of least resistance is to sustain it through nutrition. To me, what works is foods that are very organic, meaning they're not added, they're not humanly kind of produced. I'm talking added, preservatives and things like that. The easiest, the closest to the local farming as possible. I do my very best to stick to those types of things that feel the most aligned with me. Also, people struggle with this whole vegetarian, vegan versus animal protein thing. To be honest, there is no general, how should I say, rule. I personally think that, especially men, this is not to categorize, but, the men muscle kind of structure requires a bit more at this point of maybe animal protein. In some cases, not everyone, but eventually, I feel that the healthiest, or again, don't say Caroline said everybody should be vegan, then that's what I should do. It doesn't work this way. You still have to see where you're at, especially if you're transitioning from one type of diet to another. It's just for you to really, really tune in and see what works for you. But the bottom line being as natural, as organic as possible in the quantities that are really necessary, and nothing beyond that. Because anything beyond that then becomes misaligned, and then that changes your physical configuration, and then you start to feel misaligned, and the body starts to feel misaligned. And so also look at it from this way: the fact that you have to eat, you are having to interrupt. Speaking of interrupting your physical activity, so you're working, but then you start to get, have a blood sugar thing, so you have to interrupt your work in order to go and eat, meaning take care of you. And so you can also look at it from that perspective. Perhaps this kind of programming and where it's at in today's human evolution is just a reminder for you to stop focusing on outside yourself, whatever the activity that involves other people, and bring the focus back on you. And you're then nourishing yourself, meaning you're taking care of yourself, meaning you are allowing your body to be healthy and thrive. And so in a way, maybe that programming is helping you to bring back that focus on loving you, on bringing that nourish self kind of nurturing focus, which is very, very positive, instead of like, oh my God, I just gotta eat something and get back to work. So if you shift your perception, your perspective on nutrition, and put it in that, from that perspective, that, oh, I'm taking care of me. So let me think and embrace it, and allow myself to take care of me in the best way possible by choosing all these items that make my body feel happy and loved. Okay, so that's how I would kind of reframe nutrition, and to sustain yourself, and in the context of bringing back this unconditional love, this self-love, this self-nurturing back to you. Same with your appearance, with your clothing. It sounds very superficial. Your hair, your makeup, not for men, but it sounds very superficial, but it's not, because again, we are here in a physical form. We're not floating around as spirit, and so everything, even the physical aspect of having to clothe yourself, is also part of your expression. So what are the materials that I want to attract to myself? What type of look do I want to have? Am I more simple? Am I extravagant? Do I care about the actual fabric, or do I care about the design? And so on and so forth. All of this is an expression of you. I would say, why not enjoy yourself and express yourself the way you want, as long as it maintains your coherence. So for example, do I buy something because it's cheap and I don't care about the material, or do I buy it because it makes me feel good when I put it on, or because it's the design that makes me that allows me to feel a certain way, or I'm attracted to this very symmetrical, very simple, classy, or something fun and colorful. You see? So what I'm saying is, begin to notice why you are choosing what you are choosing. Again, bringing back the feeling. If you are choosing your clothing, your shoes, your whatever, because it's cheap or because this or because of that, then that is misaligned. It means that I actually prefer this cashmere sweater, but I'm going to buy this polyester, real cheap nylon thing just because it's cheaper. You're going to say, but wait, but I can't afford this cashmere sweater. Yes, but if you think about it, if that's what you really want, you will find a way to attract it. And instead of buying 2 or 3 nylon sweaters, you could buy one, cashmere sweater that you really love, that you feel represents more you, who you are, how you want to feel. Same with your hair, with your makeup, with everything. Do you do that to be attractive to others, or to make you feel a certain way? So all of this is, sounds perhaps superficial, but notice why you are doing and choosing these things, and that is an extension of your inner self, and that's what I'm saying. So pay attention, use that to identify where you're off, you see. And so that is very important. Of course, with the appearance, we have the aging problem, not for young people, obviously not yet, but in general, this question starts to come up. We start to have a few gray hairs, a few, wrinkles and this and that, and that brings up emotions. So the same thing, everybody's going to age. There's no way around it. It is what it is. I'm not saying that we can't reprogram that. We definitely can. In fact, I think I have a few sessions specifically on that. So you can, but still, there's still going to be some wear and tear. I mean, even though you can still keep yourself very young looking, if that is the goal, what is the goal? Is it just for you to look young because you don't want to be judged because now you have all these wrinkles, or is it because you like looking young, or what is the reason? And so all of these triggers, all of these situations that are making your body become a certain way or appear a certain way are triggering emotions. Again, for you to figure out who you are and how you want to feel about yourself. Do you, I don't know, color your hair because you don't want to appear that you're graying, or do you color your hair because it looks good on you? You see what I mean? So you take the time to do this, to understand where you're off. And if you are doing anything to your appearance that is simply to not be judged by others, to be accepted by others, this is all incoherent and misaligned behavior, which actually never works, eventually doesn't work. So you can shift it. That's the beauty of reprogramming. So let's say I notice that I have to put makeup on all the time. Let's say, even at home with like my best friends or something. If I'm doing something like that, then because I'm concerned that I don't look good without makeup, for example, then I want to look at that and say, wait, it means that whatever I'm doing is an expressing myself, because my body is an expression of myself. Then that is about acceptance, being accepted by others. This means that I'm not accepting myself, you see. So all of this is training ground, and it's okay. That's another thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm overweight, I don't like this, I don't like my hair, I don't like my hips, I don't and it's okay, to have these emotions, as long as you're doing something with them. That's the idea. Remember, those feelings, those triggers, is for you to make a decision, not for you to realize and to notice that you're still stuck and you're still a failure and everybody else looks better than you, and so on and so forth. And so just begin to reframe every aspect of your being, of your physical body. Same with health. That's another huge one. From the appearance, from the nutrition, then comes health. So the problem with having a health issue is that you get stuck there. Again, why did I create this? And how come I can't get rid of it? How come I can't shift it? And so this brings on other types of, additional feelings. I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'm never gonna get out of this. And what happens is, when you have an illness, usually it's going to affect your endocrine system, your limbic system, your emotional system. And so now you're in a vicious circle. So your physical body, your physical illness is triggering now the feeling of anxiety, like, oh my God, I'm still there, I can't get rid of it. Also the feeling of depression and sadness that comes with the chemistry being off. And now when you are depressed and sad about your physical body, you kind of add to the fact that you are where you are, you see. So this vicious circle is so important. So if you have a physical issue, begin to look at it again, see if you can shift it and turn it from a different perspective. This physical issue was manifested because of a trauma. You didn't come in with that physical issue. I mean, of course, occasionally, I'm talking in general. You didn't come in with the diabetes. You didn't come in with the cancer. You didn't come in with the cyst. You didn't come in with the addiction. You didn't come in with these problems. They developed because you changed the programming, because of a trauma, because of a belief, because something happened in your life. So again, that's the good news, because if you programmed it this way because of a trauma, it means that you can deprogram it and reprogram it. So what I recommend, if you have a physical issue that you're struggling with, every time you have a symptom from that physical issue, same thing, stop. The symptom is the same as the emotion. It's the alarm. It's like, uh-oh, pay attention, I'm here. So you pay attention. Let's say I'm dizzy. Let's say that's kind of, I hurt my neck, and every now and then I get, okay, so let's say I have that symptom that comes all of a sudden. So this is for me to kind of stop what I'm doing. Again, same thing, disengage the physical activity, because now my brain won't be stuck in the old programming, and go maybe sit down, take a second, and see, why did the symptom show up exactly when it did? How come it didn't show up, 2 hours before? How come it didn't show up when I was at home and comfortable and there was nobody around? It had to show up in the middle of a store, for example. It had to show up, or when I'm with my friend and I'm embarrassing myself. You see what I mean? There's a reason why this symptom is being triggered when it was triggered. So pay attention to that. Maybe it's for you to stop what you're doing. It's just, you're having a conversation over the phone. It's annoying, it's frustrating. And you're like, and then this is when the symptom comes on. And it is for you to say, okay, I'll talk to you later, whatever, so for you to disengage, your body's telling you you're in misalignment. This is the alarm ringing. Go to a different physical location, sit there for a second and say, why did I have this symptom exactly at this time? Feel it out in your heart. And again, same thing, shift it, let it go. If you don't know, again, a lot of people say, well, I don't know how to discern. You don't have to discern, it's fine. So you can say, I ask to release the confusion about why I'm triggering this symptom at this time from every cell in my body. And you breathe it in, you exhale, and then you let go of the confusion. Like, why am I feeling this? Or why am I feeling it again? And why I can't get rid of it? All of this, if you don't know why, then you release the confusion about what just happened, you see. And so, and you can also release the actual symptom. So you say, I ask to release my feeling of being dizzy right now from every cell in my body, and so on and so forth. So again, as you do this, you become so good at it. So don't worry about not knowing, not discerning. Just do it. Just do it. You know, your consciousness, your body, you are tapped in. The fact that you didn't study, you didn't train yourself that well, or you're still confused, or another thing that I hear, it's harder to do it on yourself. That is true, and that's the reason why you want to use this kind of heart thing. You know, pretend that your heart is a different person, you know, as if you're talking to a different person, to be as objective as you can, and just ask the question, heart, why did you give me this you know this feeling dizzy all of a sudden? What are you telling me? When you have this kind of conversation, as if your heart were a separate being, you will be surprised when you train to do yourself to do this correctly. You will be surprised at some of the answers that would come about. And again, if you don't know, just release the confusion about not knowing. Make sense? So again, that is the physical body, which is you. It's an extension of you. All this to always bring you back from a misaligned, incoherent state of physical being to a coherent state. When your physical body is coherent, again, I talk about this in the healers program, in the geometry. Your physical body, your physical cells, even on a subatomic level, you are geometric. You have a specific shape. That's why we have a head this way and arms this way and fingers this way. Everything is specific for a reason. And so that's why you want to maintain this geometry, because this specific geometry is coherent with the geometry of the fabric of time space, of the planetary grid, of the planet itself. And if you are coherent with the planet, the planetary grid, and the time space, then you are coherent with the universal structure. Every 0 point in your physical body corresponds to a physical point in the earth, in your energy field, but also in, like I said, in the fabric of time space. So what I'm feeling here, when I feel my heart, let's say, when I feel like something, a stress in my heart, like I can't breathe, this tension, for example, in my heart is corresponding to points in time space in the collective consciousness. It's corresponding to other things. So shifting here is shifting there. And if I'm not shifting, then I'm not allowing those points in time space in the larger universal consciousness to flow through me. And so I can't do anything. That's the problem. And that's the reason why you stop what you're doing, you disengage, you go to a different location, and you realign every cell, every 0 point in your body should be aligned with 0 points with your energy field, with 0 points within the planetary grid, within the time-space continuum, and so on and so forth. And then these 0 points, it's like a hologram. It's like a Russian doll. When the smallest 0 point is aligned with all these 0 points, then there is a direct pathway. There is an unobstructed pathway from my cell to the universe, to source, and I receive the information instantaneously. If the smaller doll is crooked, even if the other dolls are perfectly coherent, then the smaller doll does not receive the information. The smaller doll being coherent with a larger doll makes it that whatever the smaller doll is feeling and needing is felt by the larger doll, and vice versa. When the larger doll is sending the flow, the life force from source into your being, and you're supposed to feel it instantaneously because it's unobstructed. Everything is in perfect coherence. So geometry and shape has a lot to do with this coherence. And when you are coherent, this is when you allow this unconditional love force to go through you instantaneously. And so that's the reason why, being overly overweight or being or having some incoherent things in your body is to be addressed. So it doesn't mean that it's a shameful thing or whatever, because it's just about coherence. You could be slightly overweight and be very coherent because you're in good shape, you see. And so because you work your muscles or what have you. I mean, so and your energy as well going through you. So it's not about the ideal weight. That's not what we're talking about. It's about maintaining the perfect geometry in your body. Very, very important. So I hope this is helpful. And so realizing also from this perspective why the physical form and the physical body is part of the human mastery, the human mind mastery. And so when you decide to exercise, working these muscles, just like you're training your mind to be stronger and stronger, you are helping, you are allowing your body to take care of itself, to feel good, not to mention that it affects the chemistry, and then you start to feel good as well. But it is an extension of you. It is you. And so if you are unable to 100% look in the mirror and say, I love my body, if you cannot say that in your heart and truly, truly mean it, stop right there and begin to intend to love your body. Begin by saying, I don't know how I'm going to get there, doesn't matter, but I want to begin to love my physical body because that is the vehicle, that's the apparatus that is holding my consciousness, that's allowing me to be here. And it's an extension of me. It's who I am in this form on this planet. And so I have to be able to love me, my spirit, my personality, my emotions, I want to love that, but I also want to love my physical expression of me because that is also me, you see. And so that is what I suggest that you do. Now, again, moving away from that, not further, is your physical environment. Same thing. Look around. Is your room messy? Is it cluttered with all kinds of stuff? Is it filled with things that you never look at, that you haven't looked at in a long time? Or are you a minimalist? Do you have very, very few things around you? This is a huge kind of reflection of your conscious state of your consciousness, and who you are. And so same thing, this is not a superficial thing, and this is not about feng shui or whatever. It's about the items that you choose, why you've chosen them, how they ended up in your physical space. And don't forget, everything has a vibration. It's a different type of vibration. It's a different type of energy. It is an energy nonetheless. The table that is here, this chair I'm sitting on, has a vibration. And so same with this table. Why, when I shop for a table, for a desk, why do I choose this particular table, this particular color, this particular shape? all of these choices are an extension of you. Did I pick it because it was cheap? Sometimes I do. And then I'm like, oh, what have I done? It feels horrible. I'm going to pay an extra $100 and get the one that I feel coherent with. And so don't underestimate the physical environment that you're in. And, it doesn't have to be so complicated or so difficult or so expensive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you have to go and buy, expensive. That's not what I'm saying. In fact, it's the opposite. I think it should be very simple things, that in terms of fabric materials, but also, shapes and geometry and how you align things and how these things make you feel, the colors, the tones, the smells in your room, in your house. All of this is an extension of you. So begin by look around. Maybe you can't do it all if it's too cluttered, but just look at one room, one area in your room, and notice how you feel when you look at it. Do you feel, I'm not doing anything with all this stuff. I think it's time to toss it. So then do that if it makes you feel better. So you're making a decision and you're getting rid of or recycling whatever it is that you're doing with that particular item. Look at something else. How does it make you feel? Open your closet. How does it make you feel? Sometimes I have stuff that I haven't worn in forever, but it's still there. So what am I hoping to do with it? Am I holding on to it because I don't want to throw it out? Or because I think, oh, I may want to wear it one of these days, or because I don't know what to do with it. Everything is an extension of you. It represents something in you, in your subconscious mind. If I'm holding on to it because I just don't want to let go, I don't know about that. That could be a misaligned feeling. Depends how you feel. But if I'm holding on to it because I feel, I really like this thing. It's not really right now the fashion, or I don't feel like wearing it, but I bet I'm going to want to wear it. Well, that's a positive feeling, you see. So then I will keep it, you see. So that's where I'm saying, take the time. This is a great training ground. It's a great training for you to figure out who you are in this world. And if there's one thing in your life, whether it be in your mind, in your emotions, in your feelings, in your heart, in your body, in your appearance, in your furniture, and the food, and anything that is an extension of you that is misaligned, that doesn't feel quite right, look at it and say, I'm done. I'm done with this thing. I'm done. And so as you let go, you are letting go of the emotion of the programming that put it there in the first place. And so as you are letting go of these misaligned external objects and things, it's like it goes in both ways, you see? And so it's triggering that misaligned belief system that keeps you stuck. I'll hold on to this thing because I just can't let go. I am doing, I'll keep eating this food and until, I mean, it's okay. I'll be fine. Or, whatever choices that I'm making that are based on this programming that it's okay, I'll deal with it. I'm not good enough, or I can't master this area of my life. Anything that is triggering that sort of programming is still keeping you in this old paradigm way of being. And so I feel like I've covered enough from the internal to the energetic to the external and the very, very physical to give you enough tools. So you have a lot to do during the day. To be honest, it's basically becoming aware of you, becoming aware of what it is that is in your life that you think was working, but actually isn't. And if you take the time now, like I said, we're still in January, the energies of 2021 are extremely powerful. Just think about this. If you take a little time the next month or two to just clean house, get rid of all of this old stuff, this old programming that keeps you, it's okay, I'm not gonna, I'm still stuck, blah blah blah. It's like, so whatever you leave, what you're gonna be left with is this very clean, focused personality, this energy that you are, so that by the time you say, I want to create a romantic relationship, boom, I want to create abundance, boom, because there's very little stuff in the way. And because the energies of 2021 are so fast and powerful, then you have a much better chance to manifest things very quickly at this time and moving forward, obviously in linear time. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. This is the time to write your questions. I'll address a couple questions. So somebody's saying, these are just comments, what an amazing explanation about maintaining body's perfect geometry, new perspective to me, fantastic. And a lot of this also is just shifting your perception. So go ahead and type your questions if you have them. This is the time. Otherwise, you can always leave them in the comment underneath the video. But so you realize, I'm so excited to let go of so much. That is perfect. Thank you. Okay. Brilliant, Caroline. Thank you so much. Love. Okay. A great reminder, Caroline. Thank you so much. Okay. Spiritual hygiene is as important as the physical. Okay. What relationship is next week? So I'm going to do focusing on a different relationship every week. So maybe next week is romantic relationships. The next one maybe family relationship or something like that. We'll see how I feel. Again, same with me. The people who work with me sometimes ask me, what are you going to talk about? And I never plan so far ahead. I mean, I have an idea, but I like to decide at the very last minute because I want to know how I feel. You see? And so that's the reason why sometimes I decide, something very, very simple. Sometimes the hardest thing for me is to pack to go on a trip, because I don't know how I'm going to feel 2 weeks from now in this other location, if I'm going to feel like wearing the red sweater or the blue sweater, so it's very hard for me to pack because I want to feel myself in this environment. So it takes me forever to pack, which is kind of funny. So what I do, I have to like kind of remote view every single time, every single like item. Am I really going to wear? Am I really going to feel like wearing this, clothing, whatever, 2 weeks from now? I just did this gig, and the person was asking me, what do you want to have for lunch when you are here like next week? And to me that's like, it sounds so simple, and I was looking at the menu, I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to feel just then. So I like this being in touch with your feelings as you go about your day. We were given these feelings and emotions as a tool, as this guidance system, as the GPS. Okay, not doesn't feel good. Okay, reset. Keep moving as you reset. Something else. Doesn't feel good. Okay, that's okay. Reset. So that's kind of how we should look at it, and we must let go of the programming where that tells everybody, that everybody has. As soon as I have a negative emotion, it piles up on other negative emotions and other negative emotions. Oh, I'm still stuck. Like, oh my God, I can't get it. I'm still here. This is endless. Then the bubble becomes so big, and then the onion that you have to peel all the. So catch yourself. That's the idea of this whole conversation, is to keep monitoring where you're at from the beginning to end throughout your day, and to keep resetting, so that you stay in this perfect coherence. All right. Any questions? would do? How would you deal with fear of what happens when you release so much? Do you release the fear? It's the fear of the new and unknown. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you release certain things or you cut the cords, and then you have this sort of grief, this sort of emptiness. Same thing. It's a feeling. So you don't have to know too much. Just use the feeling as your guide. And so, for example, now I have the fear, like you were saying, I just let go of this and this and that. And I had this kind of feeling of emptiness, the fear of what is going to happen. Then you just release that. Okay. So again, it's actually simpler than you think. It's just a habit. Nobody teaches us any of that stuff. And so we're having to do a little bit of retraining. Relationship with creator. Oh, we'll get to that as well. You would think that that is, the primordial, the fundamental relationship. But I want to first. That's why I wanted to start this series with relationship to self, because that is the most. I mean, you create the other relationships based on the relationship with you. Like I said, so that's the reason why this is the first one. So begin the work today and just have fun with this. I mean, like, just have fun. Don't make it a daunting exercise like, oh my God, I have to keep shifting and this and that. No, just like, oh, what's happening now? Why am I all of a sudden feeling depressed? Why am I all of a sudden having this anxiety? Sometimes we're just having conversation with my friend, this anxiety comes on. It's like, what's up with that? And then a person calls and they are having this anxiety and they're needing help with that, which is okay. So all of this little exercise that I'm talking about, all these little tools, is also strengthening you. Not just resetting to this coherent and balanced way, but you are understanding how you operate. And if you don't understand how you operate, how do you expect to create your reality if you don't know how you function, you see? So it's all about the understanding the self and bringing it to the most aligned, proper vibration, which is absolute unconditional love for yourself. Alrighty. Okay, so having said that, I am sending you a lot of unconditional love from my heart. I hope you feel it. And don't forget, it's all good. We're all in this together. We all have our ups and downs. I do as well. Don't think that, like I never feel anything. That's negative. That's not true at all. And so, but the idea is you become so trained that you are eventually able to maintain this feeling of love for yourself and for others and for the planet and for creator at all times. And that becomes a very, very, very beautiful experience here on earth. All right, guys, thanks so much. Sending my love to all of you. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks.